Hello everyone, welcome to the KZGN News. Today we'll bring you a special announcement from the Water District, news about the City Council considering allowing farm animals in residential neighborhoods, the City Council agenda for Wednesday's meeting, today's KZGN Talking Points editorial, and much more.
From the Rademacher Hills to Bee Mountain and the mighty Sierras, Ridgecrest to Inyokern and China Lake, this is your news for the Indian Wells Valley with the KZGN News crew.
Hello, I'm Tom Whitney. Thanks for joining us for the news affecting Ridgecrest and the Indian Wells Valley. In a special announcement from the Water District, we get notice of this new emergency ordinance they've just passed. Measurable rainfall in the valley. On April 14, 2015, the Indian Wells Valley Water District adopted new water use restrictions, Emergency Ordinance 97. These restrictions reflect the statewide restrictions implemented by the State Water Resource Control Board April 17, 2015. Part of the water use restrictions is no watering of outdoor landscapes within 48 hours of measurable rainfall. Yesterday and today, the valley has experienced measurable rainfall. The Water District would like to remind its customers of these emergency restrictions and the continued need to conserve water during this historic drought. Turn off your landscape and watering systems for a couple days, folks. For more information on the IWV watering restrictions, visit iwvw.com/watering-restrictions. Tomorrow evening, the City Council will meet for their regular meeting. However, tomorrow's meeting has a real important agenda item. They are taking up the issue now allowing certain farm animals and other fowl like chickens, geese, ducks, and pigeons, and other yet-to-be-named animals into all residential neighborhoods. This revision would mean these farm animals would all be allowed in all residential areas. From the Dieter Tract to College Heights, to Ridgecrest Heights to the Cottonwood Tract, and every residential lot in between. All residential lots would be allowed to have certain farm animals. So if you have an opinion on this, pro or con, plan on attending the meeting tomorrow at 6 p.m. The council will listen to you, but you have to voice your opinion. If you can't be there, then call the council people and let them know your thoughts. In the rest of the agenda, they'll handle these topics. First, the council will issue a presentation of a proclamation honoring the 125th anniversary of the Daughters of the American Revolution. Next, they have the public comment period, where the public can come and discuss any issues they would like to talk about with the council. After public comment, they'll consider adopting a resolution to amend the professional service agreement in the amount of $6,000 with the engineer of record Mark Thomas and Company for additional construction support and survey work on the closeout of the West Ridgecrest Boulevard project. Next, they'll consider adopting a resolution to amend the professional service agreement with Quadnop Incorporated for additional services of right-of-way acquisition in the amount of $24,000. Then they'll consider adopting a resolution to approve the purchase of a Trimble R10 survey-grade GPS rover unit in the amount of about $35,000 for the use of locating underground utilities for the wastewater treatment facility. Next, they'll consider adopting a resolution for accepting another post-employment benefits actuarial study as of June 13, 2015, prepared by Nyhard Company. And then they'll consider adopting a resolution to enter into a land lease agreement with an MOU with Webcon Inc. to develop a solar project at the Ridgecrest Animal Shelter. Next, they'll consider adopting a resolution authorizing tax allocation bond funds from Parks and Recreation allocation be expended for capital improvements to the concession stand construction project. This is to replace the concession stand that burned down at the Kerr-McGee Ballpark about 2 years ago. The concession stand will have a total cost of almost $385,000. Insurance will cover about $153,000 of that. The rest will come from TAB funds. Next, they'll consider adopting a resolution authorizing a proclamation for freedom from workplace bullying 2015 and approving delivery by mail to the requester. Those were all the consent action items. The single item in the discussion segment of the meeting is they'll consider an appointment to Measure L Citizens Advisory Committee. Councilman Jim Sanders will make a recommendation for this appointment. This person will replace Scott Garber, who has resigned. I know Scott and thank him for a job well done on the committee. Next, in the ordinance part of the meeting, the council will introduce and have the first reading of an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Ridgecrest amending the municipal code as it relates to animal keeping within the city of Ridgecrest. The new ordinance reads as follows. The following animal keeping regulations and restrictions apply to parcels in R1 and R2 single-family residential districts, which are a minimum of 6,000 square feet, E3 estate districts, minimum 7,500 square feet, E2 estate districts, minimum 10,000 square feet, and E1 estate districts, minimum 40,000 square feet. The new ordinance will allow the following animals in all residential housing districts within the city limits. A maximum of 4 dogs or cats, or any combination thereof, shall be permitted on property zoned for residential use. A maximum of 4 household pets other than dogs and cats shall be permitted on any premises within the city limits, subject to the conditions set forth in this section. For purpose of this section, household pets include, but are not necessarily limited to, rabbits, birds, mice, rats, hamsters, guinea pigs, non-poisonous snakes, and chinchillas. Additionally, the new ordinance will allow poultry and other fowl, including chickens, geese, ducks, pigeons, and doves. A maximum of 4 hens, ducks, geese, or pigeons, or any combination thereof. I'll be providing my opinion of this topic in today's KZGN Talking Points editorial later in the program. In more news from China Lake, we have received this announcement. They have set the annual Navy Ball for October 16th at Kerr McGee Center. The Naval Air Weapons Station, China Lake, California, Commanding Officer Captain Rich Wiley has announced that the station's annual Navy Ball will be held Friday, October 16th at the Kerr McGee Center in Ridgecrest. No-host cocktails will be served from 5 to 6:30 p.m. The ceremony and dinner will follow from 6:30 to 11 p.m. According to the captain, the venue was changed from on base to out in town to accommodate access for community members who would like to attend. This ball will celebrate the Navy's 240th birthday. Members of the community, retired military, reservists, and veterans are encouraged to attend the event, which will include dinner, a formal program, and dancing. All those attending will receive a commemorative coin. The cost is a sliding scale depending on rank. Cost is $50 for civilians, $50 for active duty military personnel in the rank of E9 and officers in the rank of 04 and above. It's $45 for active duty military personnel in the ranks of E7 and E8 and officers in the ranks of 01 through 03. It's $40 for active duty military personnel in the ranks of E5 and E6, and $35 for those in the ranks of E4 and below. Anyone who would like to sponsor a military member at the ball can call OS1 Rasha Orteco at 760-939-4732. Tickets will go to the lower-ranking military members first. Attire is Navy dinner dress blue, full dress blue for military personnel, and black tie, evening gown, or better for civilians. For more information or to purchase tickets, please call your Command Navy Ball representative, AC-1 Jed Spencer, at 760-939-5475 or Oteco at 760-939-4732. For an accurate dinner count, please reserve your tickets by Thursday, October 8th. Now stay with us for KZGN's Talking Points editorial when we come back. Thanks for staying with us. Now it's time for the 83rd KZGN News Talking Points editorial. Here's today's topic. The chickens are coming to your next-door neighbor's backyard soon. Coming soon, chickens and other farm animals living right next to you. Do you want to have chickens and other farm animals living next door to your home? This is a heads up for everyone to be aware that at tomorrow's City Council meeting, they'll be taking up changes to the Ridgecrest Municipal Code concerning what animals are permitted within residential housing zones in the city. Along with regular animals like dogs and cats and other home pets that are mostly kept inside homes, they are now considering allowing certain farm animals within residential neighborhoods. Animals such as poultry and other fowl, including chickens, geese, ducks, pigeons, doves, and others yet to be determined. According to the staff recommendation, this new ordinance will allow chickens in even the smallest residential lot, and it allows up to 4 chickens. The Planning Commission had a few meetings concerning this code revision. While there are areas of the code that do need updating, the provision to allow certain farm animals in residential areas is new. City animal control officers for years have not been allowing these animals in residential neighborhoods. Animal control and code enforcement officers receive numerous complaints from neighbors that have these animals next to their homes every year. Many people attending the Planning Commission meetings voiced support and opposition to the changes. The Planning Commission finally decided to not debate the issue any further and just send it to the full council, which is where it has to go anyway. So here's my problem with this new ordinance. There is one provision in the ordinance that states the following condition: no poultry and/or other fowl shall disturb the peace and comfort of any neighborhood. I have to wonder how that will be decided. In whose opinion will be the squawking and clucking of chickens, geese, and other animals be determined a nuisance? Will neighbor disputes be handled by the police department? Will disagreements be determined civil matters when one or the other disagrees with the police determination? Will neighbors be forced to use the civil court system to try and have a peaceful backyard free of irritating farm animal noises and stink coming from their neighbors' yards? My next problem is the size of the lots they propose to allow these farm animals. Allowing them into a 6,000, 7,500, or 10,000 square foot lot is not appropriate. Lots of 40,000 square feet or bigger is fine. For those that don't realize what size lots those square footages represent, most of the lots in Ridgecrest Heights are 6,000 square feet. The average lot size in most of Ridgecrest is 7,500 square feet. The larger lots in the tracts on the northwest end of Ridgecrest and College Heights area are typically 10,000 square feet. Most of those smaller square footages leave a backyard of about 50 by 50 in area. The next size up about 75 by 60 feet in area. And the 10,000 square foot lots would have a variety of different backyards. But this is still not sufficient area to keep the noise and smell of chickens from infringing on the neighbor's backyard and enjoyment. We do have certain freedoms in how we are allowed to use our private property. Everyone keeps declaring that they have the constitutional right to do so, and I agree, except one person's rights are not allowed to be exercised to the detriment of another person's rights. I've worked as a volunteer code enforcement officer for over 2 years. I handled the complaints from neighbors that called in complaining about chickens in their next door neighbor's yard. On a hot day, and we do have a lot of those here, I could smell the stink from the chickens in the adjoining backyard, not to mention the constant noise. People complained they couldn't even open their bedroom windows at night due to the oftentimes noise and smell. You have to realize the smell doesn't just come from a buildup of feces, it comes from urine too. So if people have these chicken pens in the backyard, how do they clean them in a manner to not allow the buildup of feces and urine falling onto the ground below the pens? If they hose them out, where does the waste go? On the ground? Will they have to put plastic covers under the pens so this animal waste can be rolled up and thrown out in their trash? Think about it. Another problem is it's known that these type animals attract certain rodents. The rodents come for the chicken feed, which winds up all over the ground when the chickens eat. So how do the people clean up enough to keep from attracting rats and mice? And oh, by the way, what animals are the main predators of rats and mice? Cats? Snakes? Animal control has even had reports of bobcats and coyotes coming into an area where chickens are kept. Bobcats and coyotes can smell foul from a mile away. So if a bobcat or coyote were coming looking for chickens and spot your small dog or cat in your backyard, what do you think might happen? How will you explain the loss of your family pet to your children due to an animal that may have just come in pursuit of the smell of chickens next door? Keeping these animals has a chain effect. It is nature's way of life. So if you have an opinion about allowing farm animals living right next to you, no matter where you live in the city, you might want to get ready to attend tomorrow's council meeting. Meetings will be at the City Hall starting at 6 p.m. And if you oppose this change, make sure you attend, because those that have pushed for this change will be there to encourage approving this change. Attendance at the meeting is the most powerful way to make sure all the council hears your opinion. However, if you can't make it, or at least email or call as many of the council as you can provide your opinion. The mayor can be reached at the swap sheet. They need to hear from we the people. In conclusion, I'm against chickens in residential neighborhoods. There is no way people can keep these animal pens clean enough to keep the smell from building up over time, and there is no way to clean them up enough to keep from attracting rats, mice, snakes, bobcats, and coyotes. No one in a city should have to contend with this problem. I'm Tom Whittick, and that's what I think. I'd like to know what you think. If you have any comments about this editorial, or would like to discuss or recommend a topic, I'd like to hear from you. Please email them to info@kzgn.net. Now stay tuned for weather and sports when we come back. Thanks for staying with us. Let's go to Keith for the weather.
Thank you, Tom. The National Weather Service is forecasting a risk of severe thunderstorms for parts of the desert southwest, with a marginal risk from eastern Arizona across much of New Mexico and into western Texas, and a slight risk for parts of southern New Mexico and far western Texas. Flash flooding is also possible for parts of these areas as well as parts of northeastern Colorado. Temperatures across the nation. Carolinas came in at 67, Georgia 76, Arkansas 86, Northern Texas 79, Arizona 70, and Los Angeles at 74. For our forecast here in the IWV, tonight partly cloudy with a low around 60, calm wind, west-northwest 5 miles per hour. Wednesday will be sunny with a high near 87, west-northwest wind 5 miles per hour. Wednesday night mostly clear with a low around 64, calm wind, west-northwest 5 miles per hour. Thursday will be sunny with a high near 92, northwest wind 5 miles per hour. Thursday night, mostly clear with a low around 66, northeast wind 5 miles per hour. On Friday, we'll be sunny with a high near 95, west wind 5 miles per hour. Friday night, mostly clear with a low around 66, calm wind west 5 miles per hour. On Saturday, sunny with a high near 94, west wind 5 miles per hour. Saturday night, clear with a low around 66, west-southwest wind 5 miles per hour. And on Sunday, we'll be sunny with a high near 94, south wind 5 miles per hour. And that is a look at your forecast for the IWV. Now back to Tom and the rest of the KZGN News.
Thanks, Keith. Now Tom Heck with sports.
And a very pleasant Tuesday evening to everybody. Let's take a look at local sports first. Burroughs High School will play Sultana on Friday night. That game will be at 7 o'clock over at Sherman E. Burroughs High School Stadium. Now, Burroughs, their first conference game of the season. Now, last year, Sultana defeated Burroughs in the very last minute. Burroughs actually had a 3-0 lead. Sultana won that game 7-3. So a little revenge factor also for Burroughs coming off a 31-28 win against Barstow 2 weeks ago Friday. The team was off last Friday night. The JV and freshman team will also be in action this week. Now let's talk about Michelle Lazzaro's volleyball team right now. 13-1. They are 2-0 in league play. Their next match is against Apple Valley, where they've had a very, very good season with a very young team. Okay, on a not so happy note, if you're a coach that is, Joe Philibin of the Dolphins was fired on Monday. He was 1-3 to start the season. The last straw came when the Jets lost in London, of all places, 27-14 on Sunday. Now, Philbin was with the the Dolphins, I should say, for 4 years, had a record of 24-28. It's kind of unfair when you have to take a team all the way over to London. A lot of distractions, a lot of other things. Had some injuries, but didn't get much of a leash, really, for this season. Dan Campbell, their interim, will take over now on just a temporary basis. He is a receivers coach currently with the team. Now he's the acting head coach. Okay, baseball. Matt Williams was fired from the Washington Nationals. Now, what have you done for me lately? That's kind of the theme for Major League Baseball. 1 year ago, Matt Williams' team got into the playoffs. He was manager of the year in baseball. Now, Williams' team last year won 95 games. This year, disappointing 82 wins, and that wasn't good enough to get into the playoffs. Now, his team underachieved. Many thought they were predicted to be one of the teams in the World Series. However, they fell apart at the end, and they had some distension also. A couple incidents there made everybody frown upon Matt Williams and things that were going on in the clubhouse. Anyway, Williams out after only 2 years in Washington. And the Yankees, CC Sabathia will not participate in the playoffs starting tonight. Sabathia will take a leave of absence from the team for rehabilitation of alcohol abuse. So he will be gone for the entire playoff picture if the Yankees get that far. Now, the 35-year-old was a candidate to start one of these upcoming playoff games and one of only 2 players to have playoff experience on the mound for the Pinstripers. The Yankees and Astros playing tonight in New York, with the winner going on to play against the Kansas City Royals, who had the best record in all of baseball. The game tonight is on ESPN starting at 5:30 our time. Now on Wednesday, the Cubs and the Pirates will do battle. They'll battle it out in Pittsburgh, and the winner gets the Cardinals. With all those teams from the Central Division, just doesn't seem fair. The 3 best teams, in my opinion, in the National League. But that's the way it goes. The Dodgers will take on the Mets Friday in LA. They have home field advantage, and the Angels, a tough season, are out of the playoff picture after losing yesterday in Texas to the Rangers. Okay, that's your sports for this Tuesday night. I'm Tom Heck for KZGN.
So that's the news for today. All of us at KZGN-TV know you have a choice in what you watch for your news. We all thank you for choosing KZGN-TV, Ridgecrest's only locally owned community TV station. Coming up next, Ridgecrest Talk.